Light heavyweights looking to hit the top 15. We have former PFL heavyweight millionaire. It's Philipe Lin's Monstro taking on former Green Man. It's the Hulk, Iwan Cutelaba, a big-time banger in this one because, Matt, when you look at it for Philipe Lin's, the start of his UFC career, the denouement is what we thought it was because he was able to ride that wave with the PFL, win the $1 million. Then he's long-awaited UFC debuts against his teammate Andrei Arlovski. He picks up some losses on the way in. Abbreviated debut, we're taking on Arlovski, he loses the decision. Then he takes on Tanner Boser, and he gets finished. And if we're putting the tinfoil hat on, Matt, if we're playing MMA math, Cutelaba beat Boser by finish, and Boser beat Linz by finish, so automatically Cutelaba wins this fight. But out of all the fight bookings that had gone wrong for Linz, all of a sudden he's on this tidy 3-fight win streak. And you look at the names, again, there's a reason why both these guys are outside of the top 15, but Marcin Prachnio, what does Linz do in not just that fight, but his last win? OSP's in the middle, it's a first-round knockout win, and it's great. But the fight against Prachnio, Linz drops the first round, it's on the outside, and then he's able to cut the distance like a knife, like he's Bryan Adams in the 80s.
Feels so right.
And he's able to go out there and pressure and get the win in that one. His last time out against Max Grecian, long-rangey, army hand-to-hand combat striker, he's able to cut that distance, get a lot of control time behind the black lines, and make it maybe not the most interesting fight, but he's able to slow that timepiece down quite a bit and get the win. When you talk about a fighter that's well-conditioned for these fights, it's Philipe Linz. When you talk about a fighter that's not conditioned for these fights, typically it's Iwan Cutelaba. Now, on his Instagram, you see him out there. He's riding the bike, the elliptical type. He's out there in the sauna with the six-pack. But what do we know Cutelaba for? Well, 17-9-1 with a no contest. If you consider it 6-8-1 in the UFC, only one bonus. A fight of the night against Jared Cannonier
It's wild his record is below 500 in the UFC, isn't it? Just because of what his stature is in the overall division. Because there's some fighters who kind of outdo their rankings, if you will, right? Like, they're very popular, but they're probably ranked number 15th. Iwan Cutelaba has fought in main event slots. He has fought a lot of guys in the rankings. And
well, main event, that's a stretch.
But still, he has been a heavily promoted fighter. I think
Yes.
that's something we can both agree on. So it is a little bit surprising to see where both these guys are in the division. Because like you had mentioned, this is an opportunity to fight a ranked fighter next, but for Cutelaba, he's kind of the one on the outside of the rankings, or at least making his way out, whereas Philipe, down at 205, is at least making a bit of a run right now in a division that seems to be completely wide open.
Yeah, and this is the weird part about it. For Cutelaba, of those 17 wins, 14 of them are in the first round. And he is the definition of the Christos Giagos zone. And why do I say that? We can point to a lot
He's more Shane Carwin.
We can point to a lot of these Cutelaba wins and losses as the X factor. You look at his fight against Jared Cannonier, it's a fight of the night. What happens? He wins the first round, he loses the next two. His fight against Glover Teixeira, he wins the first round, looks really good.
Almost beats him.
And then in the second round, this is why the Giagos zone is a thing. First round, Cutelaba against Glover Teixeira on the rewatch. He's switching stances. He's moving really well on the outside. He looks like a cardio kickboxer who can grapple at the same time. In the second round, not only is he tired, he's not moving his feet. He's on the retreat. He's not defending strikes. He's a completely different fighter from the first round to the second round. Again, some of these losses, I'm not going to say forgivable, but Magomed Ankalaev gets finished in both of them. I know the first one, was he actually out? Well, he certainly was in the second one.
I think the last three are a little bit more concerning, though, than some of the Ankalaev and the Teixeira losses.
But, yeah, this is it. I mean, the fight against Ryan Spann, he's going out there getting the takedown, and then as we're getting up, he's into the submission. The fight against Johnny Walker, he's into the takedown. He's getting reversed. He's getting submitted. The fight against Kennedy Zechku, he's trying to go out there for the takedown. Things aren't working out his way. Now, again, that was the abbreviated main event where there wasn't even enough time to slip in a poster for it because the main event was thrown out. That was, if I'm not mistaken, Spivak and Derek Lewis. That might have been a different main event. There were a few at the end of last year that were thrown around, so forgive me if I made the mistake. But when you look at it for Cutelaba, the only fight that I've seen him look the same, sustain a gas tank, and work in takedowns through 3 rounds was his fight against Devin Clark. And he was able to blitz him in the first round, and Devin Clark was in that realm of he wasn't able to get it going in the second and the third. Even in the split draw against Dustin Jacoby, I thought it was a 10-8 in the first round for Iwan Cutelaba, but in the second round and the third round, Jacoby was able to use the term loosely again, cardio kickbox his way into a second and the third round win. So when it comes down to this one, Matt, unless Cutelaba starches, Philipe Lins in the first round, Lins should be able to win this fight. He's got good takedown defense. Apart from getting his leg hurt against Kelly and Knudsen, when Lins' forward movement's dominant, I guess, if that's even a term, Lins is able to throw the kitchen sink at the majority of his opponents, and he's able to outlast the majority as well. And I know even at a recently turned 38, he's been able to beat a lot of these guys outside of the rankings and look good, especially as these fights draw on. So I find this an incredibly interesting fight just outside of the top 15.
I agree with everything you said, but I think Ion Cutelaba wins this fight. I do think we are going to get not the best version of him in terms of, hey, he's going to come back and look like a different fighter, but Philipe Lins does kind of walk in on a straight line. He's not somebody who's going to move his head a lot, evade your big shots, then answer with his own. It is a lot of that downhill forward movement. If he's able to land the jab and set up the right hand, he will look phenomenal himself, and he does have power, but it's just the fact that he is a little bit predictable on the feet with some of his striking. I think it allows Ion Cutelaba to throw that one big Hail Mary shot and get him back into the fight. So, again, I think we've thrown up enough red flags to why you probably shouldn't pick Cutelaba, but oddly enough, I got him in this fight.
Matt's got Cutelaba. I have Cutelaba as well. He is favored to win the fight. The fans over on Topology, 63% going
The judges
Cutelaba.
probably won't be needed, eh?
80% by knockout for the 37% that have Lins, 56% by knockout. So the fans anticipating a knockout. Both of us going with Moldova's own Ion Cutelaba to get the win in the matchup. Let us know who you have down below in the comments section, Matt. Some big-time fights in this card, including a weird one between Rick Glenn taking on Drew Dober. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say. Let's get into it.